How's it going, Scorpio community? Soul Tigers here with a special story for this wonderful frequency. So let's talk about what is coming in for this vibe. You're going through a wee bit of tough times, especially in the foundations that you have built around you. Could be with the very communities, whether it's family, whether it's friends, whether it's spouses, whether it's co-workers, or some type of place that you like to frequent, or it's multiple places all at once. Something that's really important, Scorpio, is to put to exercise all the things that you have learned along the way on this journey, especially the healing journey that you've been embarking on. The thing is to assess one fear at a time so that you can break down the barriers that have you stuck in this one spot. And this is something that is going to take your most genuine self to get through, your most authentic self to get through. And that is you being really, really honest with you about how you feel about certain situations, certain situationships, I'm hearing to say as wow. And with that full moon coming in at the end of the month with Aquarius energy, Aquarius is about sudden change. It's also about your authentic self bringing in reform. The reform that is going to not only help you, but help your community as well. So something here in the wee bit of past that we've dealt with, something that's really hard for you to look at, is the proof. The proof is in the pudding, I'm hearing to say. There's something that you've been seeing day in and day out. It could be through people's actions that is the same shit every day. And it's getting very crusty. It's getting old, you know, but for some reason you hide from the proof. You hide from observing the proof, not just with the intellectual mind, but with the emotional being as well. Something here, it could be having to do with your resources. Maybe you're depleted. Maybe somebody's trying to deplete you. Maybe somebody takes advantage of you as well. Be careful, be careful, be careful, because there is something here that has a hold of your energy, and it comes in the different currencies that you have, whether it's the currency of your love, the currencies of your goals and ambitions, the currency of wanting to have a growth mindset or staying within your growth mindset, the currency of the different type of community relationships that you have around you as well. Something here in the present, but you also worry about with the future of things. It has to do with being able to be smart enough to make the different moves that you need to do. Having that confidence that you could put things into checkmate, opposed to always having a stalemate with certain relationships around you. And what does this have to do with traveling? Being able to move, being able to get up and go when it's time to get up and go, especially when you have people coming in rough at you. Doesn't have to be just particularly a female. This can be an out of balance male as well. A male who's so high in his femininity, but it's really toxic. They're really stuck. They don't make moves for themselves. This is, if it was a female, she's going to be high in the kind of like the masculine energy where she's overactive and she's doing too much and she's jumping to assumptions as well. And you just need to know that the biggest tactic there is not to feed the bullshit, not to keep feeding their passions, because sometimes people have passions of just messing with people. That's how they get their little kicks out of their day. And there's something here about researching you. Somebody is definitely thinking they know the most about you, and this is what they try and use against you. Maybe this is how they communicate with you. Maybe this is how they use this type of communication to poke at your insecurities, I'm hearing to say. And don't think that that isn't a thing. That is heavily a thing. This is one of the reasons why I am so happy not to be on social media, because you get these little weirdos out there, and I'm hearing to say that these little freaking weirdos, not in a good way, who think they know somebody just because they stalk them on social media. Please. So don't let somebody use your social media against you. Be mindful in the sense where you don't draw up defensive right away. Sit and observe and see what are the next moves you need to make, the next tactical moves, because when you play a game of chess, you play for future moves as well. You play also to anticipate what that other person is going to do or what they can do. This is a very intellectual type of game that you're going to need to play with them. This is why it's important to also assess the emotional being and to go in and to validate, because a lot of times when we deny our emotional being, when we deny how we feel, it gets built up, and it gets built up till one day some dumbass comes in, says something, and we go off. And what happened? We just fed them our energy, and they're happy because they got you to look a type of way, the way that they wanted you to look, foolish. They wanted you to look unbalanced. All the things that they've been saying about you will come to light if you want to sit here and stoop down to their level. So be careful. And remember, divine sends people in. It sends places in. It sends communities in so that we can learn lessons that we're meant to learn, whether it reminds us of past type of stuff or it's something that we don't even know how to deal with. So there could be something here that you're going to wish, or you have been wishing, that you get better at. So once you start wishing for that, the divine is going to, what I say, provide opportunities with certain people to come into alignment with you. It isn't because the divine has something out against you. It's because the divine feels like you are ready to conquer these misalignments, and you conquer these misalignments in your truth. That's the thing. When you start to deny yourself, deny your truths, that's when people can play with you. And that's how you end up doing too much for the wrong person, for the wrong place, and for the wrong thing. Don't get it twisted. Because you stay up in those type of things, it leaves you depleted, and it leaves you feeling like you're further away from where you actually want to be in life, with the people that you would like to have around you. And these could be people of a soul tribe, people who are on that same frequency. And when we start to pick up our heads, when we start to question things that don't feel right, that people want to keep us in, or maybe we've kept ourselves in because we keep looking back to these past relationships as something that we must stay in. Well, I've known them since a certain age, a certain time in my life, and now so many years later, I feel like I should have loyalty to them. This is why I said you need to go in and you need to assess what these fears are when it comes to letting go. With Cancerian energy, this talks about the very things that we hold on to for too long. Scorpio, this is where you and Cancerians are a lot of like, because once you get a hold of something and you really want that something, you will hold on to it forever and then some, even if it's injuring you, even if it's hurting you, even if it's gonna lead you to the pits of hell. You must learn about self-preservation. salvation. That is not a crime. It's not a crime to love yourself. A lot of times we feel like we have to self-sacrifice in order to prove ourselves to others. But others who are in that higher frequency of love, light, compassion, and gratitude will not ask you to sacrifice your certain things, whether it be your inner love, whether it be your goals or ambitions. They're not going to ask you to sacrifice that. They're going to help you grow it. So let's see, a couple other things that's really hard for you is navigating the emotions. Navigating the emotions to really get a bigger outlook on the things that are happening in your inner world, but always in your exterior world as well. And this is what's really hard, and it plays at the deja vu that you feel like keeps happening. The deja vu where people always seem to have their back towards you, always off doing their own thing, not caring how much you're self-sacrificing for them, how much every time they do their own thing, they turn their back on you. It creates a little crack. It creates a little injury, an internal one within. It could be your heart. It could be your spiritual being. It could be your charisma. It could be your passions. It could be the things that you wish will be the outcomes. Be careful, be careful, be careful. It's very, very important to assess. It is important to create judgment. It is important for you to stop and think about it. Go within, pray, search within for that inner guidance that's happening. I had somebody tell me, well, I thought you were doing this one thing. And I told them no, because I prayed about it and the guidance told me, or it gave me my sign. If I was to go against the guidance, against the signs that I've been given, then that's me not listening up to these higher energies, listening out, I should say, for these higher energies. And when we start to ignore the things that we're praying about, the different signs that are coming in, the different divine communications that are coming in, that puts us away further from our soul being, which is connected to that higher up energy. You have to listen to yourself. You really have to fill yourself out if you want to elevate your energy, if you want to elevate your communication with the divine, with your angels, with your ancestors, with your spirit guides. Because the more you ignore, the more you want to pretend that they're not there helping you, the lower and lower and lower and more out of tune, out of in sync you become with them. And sometimes the guidance doesn't answer us in the way that we want it to be answered. But if you think about it, and this is bringing tears to my eyes right now because this is very emotionally charged for you, Scorpio, if you think about it, the best teachers in life did not give you the answers that you wanted. The best teachers in life had you search for yourself, had you try things out, had you fall on your face at times for you to learn, for you to see, for you to be able to understand. There's times you're going to have to pick yourself up, especially when others have knocked you down. And sometimes, Scorpio, let's be honest, let's be raw right here, right now. Sometimes that other is us. When we live in the place of denial. And I'm hearing to raise this card up. Think about all the times that you've sat in denial. And think about how it got you further into the depths of where you did not want to be, where you were trying to save somebody else from being. You have to be careful, Scorpio. You have to be careful. You are a guardian angel. You will go to the depths of hell for the ones that you love. But the thing is, things change. People change. How people view us, how people love us also change. Would you honestly think that these people would go to these types of depths of hell for you? That is something to ponder upon. Definitely ponder upon. Alright, so let's call in our angels of protection. Angels of protection. Please help guide us and keep us safe as we navigate the block for the Scorpio community. Oh my goodness. It's a lot that's piled on top. You know, maybe the type of relationship that you're dealing with here has a lot that's been stacked upon it for many, many years. Maybe there's a lot of reasons why you sit here and stay. Maybe there's a lot of reasons why you keep wanting to go into these depths of hell for another. And I think that's the very fear. What is the fear here that you hang on to that has you so willing to take from yourself to go to these depths? Because you have to remember, birds of a feather are going to flock together. Whatever you're trying to say, whatever you're trying to prove, whatever you're trying to set an example of, is the very thing that's taking from you at the same time. It takes a lot of energy for somebody to go into somebody else's shadow side and to want to pull them out. And what ends up happening is their inner demons end up latching on to you, whether it's addiction type of things, whether it is depression and other low frequency type of moods. Remember, misery loves company, and every time you travel down to there, you chain yourself with another reason, with also something that they're suffering from to yourself. So be careful, be careful, be careful. With this past, there's a sense of loyalty here and wanting to be fair. There's some kind of debt maybe that you feel like you owe, and this you feel very, very, this is a part of your truth and why you stay here. This is also a part of the reason why you deny thinking you can go any other which way. This is what you hide from. You hide from your own abilities to be able to go to a different direction. Whatever this is, it's not fertile. It's not helping you create more, but you are doing the most for this. You're giving the most for this. You're giving your very fortunes for this, but it's still a nightmare. It's still something that goes around and around in you. This ball of anxieties that you wake up with, that you go to sleep with, that plagues everything that you do. Remember, you going to the depths of their inner hells with their inner demons means that this energy is also attaching, and it's getting rooted in you as well. Few other things here is, yeah, definitely was talking about a little bit of depression and holding on. Let me see, holding on for too long. The queen of pentacles is a nurturer. She wants to make sure everybody is taken care of. But when she comes out in reverse, that means she is overbearing. She's doing too much. She's hanging on too much for too long, and that's her way of trying to control things. And this is your way of trying to control the world, this world that you're in right now with this other person, place, and or thing. And this is what is depleting your resources. You're giving too much to try and hold on to something. Think about it. Think about what you could be doing with your resources. Think about what else you could be doing with your time if you could just let this be. And I'm hearing, I don't want to abandon it. That is the very thing. And with this world card here, this world card is Saturn energy. This is Capricorn energy. This talks about the things that we seek out for security, but we also have a hard time changing. Capricorns are very stubborn, and just like Cancerians, they're very, very loyal. Those two signs are more loyal than any other sign out there, because those ones will sacrifice everything and anything they have for their partnerships, for their communities. They will basically give away even their future, their goals, their ambitions for the ones that they love. And sometimes the ones that we love, with the people, places, and things, are no good for us. And the more we stay stubborn, the more we stay stuck, the more we deny the guidance, the more it takes from us. The more that we believe that there's nothing out there better for us. So you be careful walking this line with this other. Something else here is the Hierophant. You have a hard time praying. Why? Because you're afraid of the movement that will come in. You would rather sit here and surrender your strength and put up with the fights. You would rather listen to the opinions of others than to your own inner guidance. That could be somebody telling you that you're not going to achieve much. That could be somebody telling you that you're not going to do more better without them. This could also be somebody, you are very passionate about. Maybe somebody or someplace that you have seen a lot of potential in. Maybe there are good days with them. And those are the days that make you feel like the most is possible. But I'm hearing to say those other days are a facade. That you're fooling yourself and they're fooling you on those days. Because that's them trying to get what they want from you. And you have to be careful with that. You have to be careful what you practice, especially when it comes to your beliefs of things. I know that you can get in certain situationships where you feel like you have to buy another's love. If they're acting up and I do something nice for them, then they're going to stop acting up and they're being nice. You have to be careful with that. A lot of times we get in these relationships with these adult children and we try and parent them. We try to bring in a love like unconditional, which a lot of times that is the parent's type of love. I always tell my clients, you will do anything for your child, but when it comes to your partner, you will have your limits on what you will put up with and how much you will dispense yourself for them. But for your child, oh man, you're willing to go to any depths for them. But this is something that you need to balance out. I feel like that type of love you want to give to the things that you're dedicated to is something that in turn turns around and gets used against you. And you bringing in a balance is something that's going to be really, really important. Stop giving these people the benefit of the doubt and start giving yourself more of an optimistic type of way of seeing the situation. A progressive optimistic type of you. And that's first taking them off the freaking pedestal that you have them on, and you actually putting yourself up. Because it is good to have a little bit of pride, because with that pride you're able to move a little bit more forward. You're able to believe in the moves that you're making. You're also able to go towards your fears with less hesitation. Now, too much pride, yes, can be a bad thing at the same time. Alright, so let's go ahead and call in divine. Divine, and universal energy. What are the positive messages that you have for the Scorpio community? I want to say Aquarius, so then what I'm going to say with that is you need to really get down to communication with yourself. And you need to find out what it is that your authentic self needs the most. And as I say Aquarius, I have this one come out. And as we're talking about authentic self, this one comes out. Your authentic self is going to piss people off. You're not always going to make everybody happy by steering away from always fulfilling their wants to balance out what you need. And there's times where you're just gonna have to let them stew in their own misery as you create this balance. And that's okay, because this is gonna produce a miracle for you, especially when it comes to that inner guidance, when we can be able to have that communication with that inner guidance. A lot of Leo energy. Leo energy is having the ability to use our free will. And maybe that's the miracle here, is seeing that you are the conductor of your free will, and nobody has a say in that but you. I mean, if you're over there breaking laws, then the popo gonna have a say in that. So I'm not saying use your free will in a dark way, but use your free will to help clear out the facade. I mean, when it comes down to it, if this person, this place, or this thing I'm hearing to ask, if you could look to the future and see that you would still be in the same situation 5-10 years from now with no change, still going to the different depths of hell to try and pick this person up out of it, do you really want to do that? Do you want to spend the next 5 to 10 years chasing after somebody, trying to bring a miracle into their life, but yet they're doing everything to move further away from it? Is that really worth your time when it comes to the different alignments in your life? A lot of times we feel like we get certain things, or we're stuck to only have certain things, and that's because we don't know how to put the work in to get to something better. To learn about what you deserve means that you're going to have to learn about things that you don't deserve first. Creating a standard for yourself, then learning how to reinforce those standards and boundaries. Something else we have is isolation. Isolation service. I really feel like you're afraid. You are afraid if this doesn't work here, it may not work anywhere, and you could be doomed to where it's too late for certain type of relationships to happen for you. And maybe that's the very thing that you need to let go. That idea of an old way of thinking, to bring in a new way of seeing things, a fresher way of seeing things, especially when it comes to the guidance that we need to help bring certain things to an end, to help recharge what we're actually passionate about. When you go through the ringer, and I'm going to use relationships as an example, work, whether work relationships or personal relationships, when you go through the ringer of relationships where you always end up in these toxic environments with these toxic people, you sometimes, if you're not strong enough to go against the grain, if you don't have that belief in being able to follow your guidance to find the lesson, then a lot of times that will beat you down in the sense of programming you to make you think that there is only this out here in the world for you. And the only way that you can get out of that is by giving yourself permission to believe in something higher, and to be patient, and to be able to pick up your strength when it comes to your own inner communication with something else. A lot of times it's going to make you feel crazy. A lot of times you're going to feel really impatient. A lot of times you're going to feel insecure, especially when you create this movement. But the thing is you've been stuck in a very dark place for this other for quite some time, and a lot of it is really has been changing the way that you view things, especially when it comes to the karmic balances in your life, feeling like, well, this is just all I deserve, which again pulls at that strength, that free will to get up, to move. But what's being given here is faith, creating movement within your faith. Look at all these cards. To clear the facade, to bring in the miracle. What is the miracle? To actually see the bigger picture. What has been happening day in and day out when it comes to others messing with you. Not only messing with you, but how their attachments are attaching to you as well. Something to recognize is you keep going all hard for them, which is leaving you energetically broke, materially broke. The whole thing is to get through this chaos. You're going to have to stand in your truth. Stand in your truth when it comes to this imbalance, to help balance you out, especially if it's going to piss people off, because you're not going to jump up on a dime for them to get them what they want. And when it comes to soulmates, we have many different types of soulmates out there. And sometimes our soulmates are just meant to be in our lifetime for a certain amount of time. Maybe in that time they're here to teach us how to have that communication with the divine. Maybe in that time they're meant for us to learn how to do different type of moves. Not moves to where we're going to let them win everything that we are trying to achieve for ourselves, but to create moves to where we can actually see ourselves, see the fruitation of ourselves, see how we want to show them everything that we feel like they're missing. Why is that important at this time? Because for you, movement is important. Because once you get stuck, that's when you're going to sit here and want to go back and forth with these different conflicts from these others. And when you're stuck, that's when depression happens. That's when you're seeking things of security and you're afraid to change things around you. This is how they give you an energetic dirty offer. This is how they isolate you from enlightenment. And this is also how this ends up feeling like a deja vu everywhere you go. It's hard to be the person that's gonna, stand up for yourself, especially if you're in a low frequency area. Low frequency areas are not about empowerment. They're about being able to use a person as much as they can. But if you're laying yourself down as a doormat, people will happily walk all over you. So this is why it's important for you to be proactive, to actually look at what's happening, to study the view, not just from an intellectual side, but also from an emotional, also from a spiritual sense as well. All right, Scorpio community, this is going to conclude it. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much for your time, your energy, and your patience. And as always, don't forget to thank your angels, ancestors, spirit guides, divine and universal energy for coming on in. And I hope that you have a most wonderful rest of your day.